Today's surprise House Select Committee hearing outlined in detail what was happening inside the Oval Office in the days before and the hours during the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. The one and only witness who was testifying today was longtime GOP staffer and former special assistant to the president and assistant to former chief of staff Mark Meadows, Cassidy Hutchinson. Perhaps the most stunning moment in her testimony was when she described what happened inside the Beast, which is what they call the president's limo, when former President Trump was finally informed by Secret Service after his January 6th speech at the Ellipse, he would not be allowed to go to the Capitol because things were starting to get violent.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel, and when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
It's worth noting the committee has also talked to that specific Secret Service agent Hutchinson was talking about in that soundbite. His testimony has not yet been released. Hutchinson also testified that plans were in the works for days prior to January 6th to have the president walk with the crowd from the planned Ellipse speech down to the Capitol, a move the White House counsel warned would likely be criminal. And when the day actually came, Hutchinson testified that the president absolutely knew the people gathered at his speech at the Ellipse were armed and, in fact, said to Secret Service, "They're not here to hurt me." As we all know, the president then encouraged that crowd to march to the Capitol, but he never went. Hutchinson also testified about what was going on back at the White House after that speech while the attack was ongoing at the Capitol. She talked about how the president wanted to be alone to watch what was going on, but the White House counsel, Pat Cipollone, demanded that the former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, tell the president to say something, to denounce the violence and tell the rioters to go home, especially after the Hang Mike Pence chants started.
I remember Pat saying something to the effect of, "Mark, we need to do something more. They're literally calling for the vice president to be effing hung." And Mark had responded something to the effect of, "You heard him, Pat. He thinks Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong." To which Pat said something, "This is effing crazy."
And at 2:24, when then President Trump tweeted this, that Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what was necessary, that was it for Hutchinson.
It was unpatriotic. It was un-American. We were watching the Capitol building get defaced over a lie.
At this point, we're not expecting another public January 6th committee hearing until about mid-July.